hedge fund manager. He has made billions of dollars for investors. He is someone who has made some pretty key calls, macro strategy calls over the years, where he sees the whole global picture and puts money, bets for or against a direction in the global economy. And he has done very, very well doing that here. So he's someone that is not seen as a flamethrower. He's seen someone who he's a grown up, and he's not somebody who's breaking conventional rules like some of these other picks are.
But he is, Christine, which would probably be very much of a surprise to people who pay attention to this, a protege of George Soros, of all people, who is somewhat of a boogeyman for Republicans. Is there any surprise that Trump would pick a Treasury Secretary with such close ties to one of their biggest foes?
Yeah, let's remember George Soros is like Republican kryptonite or conservative kryptonite. And here's somebody who worked alongside him. In fact, when George Soros was making his huge bets against the British pound, and he was making investments around Japan, it was Scott Bessent who was doing the research and the advising and was right there next to him. He's worked for other very, very well-known and powerful investors as well. But that is a funny kind of wrinkle in the resume, considering Donald Trump and his war on woke and war on what he thinks is a George Soros-fueled left.
Not that this is the only metric that we should consider ourselves with, but it is important. The markets seem happy with this potential pick. Why?
Record high for the Dow again here today. Look, he is someone who Wall Street, at least now, is hoping will go quickly with tax cuts and slowly and more measured with tariffs. And why is that important? Because the tariffs could be very, very disruptive to Wall Street, to global business, and that's going to have to be something that is really an international art of the deal, and they're hoping that Scott Bessent is the guy with his background that'll be able to talk to Donald Trump behind the scenes and be a little bit of a shock absorber if necessary on the tariff strategy. At the same time, he has said that he wants to go get these tax cuts made permanent. He'd like to have more tax cuts, no taxes on Social Security, on overtime, on tipped wages. All of that begs the question, if he also is sort of has fiscal discipline, then how are you going to pay for that, Ryan? So that's what Wall Street's happy today, but they're going to be the pay-fors that'll be the next step of this process.
And do they view him somewhat as a check on the Trump agenda, or at least able to focus Trump a little bit more to meet their concerns?
It's unclear. They're putting him more in a moderate bucket, a non-flamethrower bucket, which is something that they're pleased with. I mean, he is not, and Howard Lutnick, who's now of the Commerce Department. By the way, there are those who are already starting to game out. Well, if Commerce is sort of the tip of the spear for tariff strategy, and the strategy comes from the White House and Treasury, could there be potential conflict down the road with Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick? I think those are parlor games that I'm not ready to get to play yet. I just want to live in today. And for today, the markets are saying quick on tax cuts, slower on tariffs, as steady as she goes. I mean, Elon Musk actually said he's business as usual, that he shouldn't be picked as a Treasury Secretary. Wall Street says business as usual. Well, the S&P is up 91% over the past 5 years, so they'll take business as usual if they can.
All right, Christine.